Let's talk about Rand Paul. Time magazine last year, and we were having this conversation many times, calling him the most interesting man in politics. He came in on the Tea Party wave, got a lot of attention when the Edward Snowden story about the NSA, the scope of the NSA surveillance operations. He was a libertarian, he was Tea Party, he rose in the polls. Let's show you some numbers. He was a year ago, he was at 16% in the national Republican polls, in first place in the field. Now he's at 12%. He stayed relatively static. There's a margin of error in there, but he slipped down a third percent. What is his biggest challenge today, getting into a race that Jeb Bush has had a little bit of a wave, Scott Walker followed that, now Ted Cruz is getting the attention? What does Rand Paul have to do?
You nailed it, John. Senator Paul has moved to the right, so perhaps he's less interesting a political figure, but he may be more competitive in a Republican primary. He's courting evangelicals, he's reaching out to some of those wary hawks, and he's saying, I could be your candidate, I could be your nominee. And so we're going to have to watch today, what is his message? Is he going to really reaffirm his standing with his father's supporters, or is he going to cast a new light and say, I'm going to be someone who's more in the center?
Can he walk away from his father's libertarian base, which is out in Iowa? Ron Paul had a very good organization. Rand Paul has inherited that, plus he's added some of his own people. He's pretty strong organizationally there. Live Free or Die is on the license plates in New Hampshire. You would think if there's a place for a libertarian to sell, it would be there. Can he alienate those people by trying to cozy up to the Republican establishment, or is that the risk?
Well, that's exactly the question. Does he lose some of the passion, some of the wave that boosted his father in all these early states, and would potentially boost his candidacy if he, by taking these positions, by cozying up to evangelicals, by moving to the right on foreign affairs and national security, does he lose the support of some of his strongest backers? It's a tough needle that he has to thread. To be viable in a general election, he needs to find a way to expand his appeal and sell the libertarian brand in a broader way. But, you know, do you lose your base if you do that?
His people think he can do that, because where are those Ron Paul supporters going to go? There's no one else in the party who really reflects their libertarian values. So Paul's camp, I spoke to him last night, they think he's going to move a little bit to the center, see him electable, but still have that libertarian cred.
It's interesting, because his dad made an impact in presidential races, but he was always a message and a movement candidate as a Republican candidate for president. You knew Ron Paul was never going to be the Republican nominee. You knew that on day one. So Rand Paul's challenge, keep what dad had, keep his little slice of the Tea Party, and then try to grow.